Hi, John W. Davis with the Southern California News Group. Simple question for you. What do you feel like went right this season, and what do you feel like went wrong?
Me?
Yeah. And then D too, if I can. Thank you.
Sure. It's hard when you're in it to also be in reflection mode. I think for us, post All-Star, we were where we wanted to be. We just didn't get it together soon enough. And it's tough when you dig yourself a hole in the season. Pretty much every game is super important, and there's a couple of close games at the end that, we could have won, could have gone our way. And, we might be in the playoffs right now. But I think looking back, what went right was, obviously offensively, we've been really high level. I think defensively, that's the biggest area of growth in the offseason, individually and collectively. But, from my experience in the league, if you look at the top teams, especially teams defensively, defensive chemistry plays a massive part in what you do individually and then also collectively. And, I think the veterans in the league that play the best defense are people that have been in the league, understand principles, understand concepts, and then collectively as a team, they've been able to build on, high experience, playoff games, things like that, right? And so I think for us, just continue to keep that group together and build that chemistry is going to make a difference for us in the future.
Kelsey,
No, go ahead. No, she answered it perfect. I would have said the same thing.
Kelsey, you come over in a trade beginning of the season. Lynn has talked about how you were the head of the snake, going from a third or fourth option to being the first option would be tough. You give a speech at the end to the fans, telling them about next year. How would you evaluate your season overall? And coming back next year, is that something that you would like to do?
Maybe on the spot.
That's an easy answer.
I think, looking at this season, I really wanted to impact winning. And so it's tough because it's this, sometimes I don't do a great job of giving myself grace. We did win 21 games, different from 8 a season ago. At the same time, as a competitor, I really want to be in the playoffs, right? So I think there's a little bit of a internal battle there that I'll have time on the season to reflect. And again, for me, I don't take a ton of part into individual accolades or statistics. I think really impacting winning at a high level is the difference between great players and good players in our league. And I don't know if you're asking, I'm not surprised in terms of statistically this year. I think actually next year we got a lot better, even more efficient individually and also collectively. And I think my biggest growth in the offseason would just be leadership. And never been the head of the snake before, so I've learned a lot. I think I have a lot of areas to grow in that area, and that's probably going to be my biggest focus moving forward.
Dearica, thinking about last season and this season, obviously big difference in results, but can you talk a little bit about the energy in the building and how it's changed from last year to this year with the addition of Kelsey, but also just sort of the community in LA and the fans and all that good stuff?
Yeah, Kelsey mentioned that I think we had the 4th highest attendance, and even last year I think we were pretty much up there, but definitely feel like the crowd this year is way more motivated and involved, and they see what we're doing and what we're trying to build here, and they're on board. So we're just grateful. Crypto's so big, so at times you kind of lose sight of the amount of people that are in there, but it's an amazing atmosphere.
For Dearica, kind of building off that a little bit, Coach has talked all season about how this is a build and whatnot. You're now one of the longest tenured players here. Just what have you seen this season in terms of, building that culture that she's been talking about?
Yeah, you have to break it down and build it back up. And I think for me, she thinks I want to cry.
Sounded like
I just my optimism and perspective of things is I'd rather have a slow burn than a quick fix, and then it just not be the same. So when you're talking about long term and wanting to build something for the years to come with the core that we have and the young players and going forward, I'm not happy that we're not in the playoffs, but I'm very optimistic about where we are in the second half of the season. And we still can get so much better, which is crazy.
Hey, DJ from Infinity TV, I'm gonna build a little bit on that question because you kind of teed me up there. So like we've been talking like 3 years. Consistency is what I've been saying to you sitting right here. So like now we've been talking about consistency and we're drastically different. Take me through the mental fortitude. You usually say never too high, never too low.
Yeah.
But you're literally like right where you said you knew you would be. So like how do you mentally go into finish this season and go into the next season?
I'm gonna take my time this offseason. I always do. I focus on like what's most important to me, and that's my kids and my day-to-day life, and get back at it. I'll set another vision board. The goals I had on there this year, you know, obviously I had us as a top 4 team, which the second half of the season we finished. So just yeah, you know, and like I said, it's like a long-term thing. So those goals will be reached. I'll put the same goals back on there, individually and as a team, and I do believe in power of the tongue, and I think we're gonna get there. I know we're gonna get there.
I know too.
Edwin, and then Sabrina.
My question's for Kelsey. Last year you were supposed to play in the rival, but ultimately didn't play. Will you be playing in that league this upcoming season?
Breaking news.
I can't say yet, so
TBD.
TBD.
Sabrina.
For either of you, both of you have talked so much about how much you believe in what's happening here. I guess as the leaders of the team in that final locker room, or even after you guys play Phoenix, I guess what is the message you're trying to send the rest of your team into the offseason with?
You know, it's funny. Maybe like 2 weeks ago, I was calling Dee. I was having a moment. I was just frustrated, you know, like I want to win. She was like, hey, I won 8 games last year, so this looks different to me. So I think perspective is key. And, you know, we have a lot of youth. You know, the biggest thing I think is just this offseason is unprecedented. I've been messing that word up all day.
President.
Yes,
Yep,
I'm not going to even
you got
try.
it.
For everyone in this league, right? And the league's getting better and better, more talented, more physical, more dynamic, and players have an opportunity this offseason to transform themselves. And that's not just on the Sparks, that's every player in the W, right? Especially players that are not under rookie contracts. So, you know, I think the message is take that chip and that hunger, and, you know, our league's a little bit unique because we have a longer offseason. Even though people play in other leagues, we have a longer offseason for the W. You can really transform your game. You know, if you decide to go to work, you can transform your game. And so, you know, we're looking forward to having some of that talent be transformed in the offseason and come back different individually as our roster, but also collectively.
Hey, Kelsey and Dearica. Obviously, there's been a lot of talk of how much you both mean to the team from a leadership perspective. Leadership, I feel like, is something that is easier to carry when you're not doing it all by yourself. So I'd love to know what each of you mean to each other, to have each other to lean on from a leadership standpoint.
Yeah, I mean, October? It's been almost a year. I was having dreams. No. I mean, Kelsey and I's friendship obviously goes way back, and I don't think we knew that this moment would be here. But prior to my time, like when we were in Vegas, we always talked about being together, staying together, at whatever we do. And obviously at the time it was in Vegas, and so when things happened, and that happened a year ago now, we kind of like locked eyes and it was like, we're gonna do it. And you know, in the off season, I just talked about how much we needed a lead guard and somebody to help me like to carry this. And she's the perfect person. I've since day one wanted her here, and just grateful to have her here. I feel like I've contributed in different ways, but she's taken this franchise like to another level and being very adamant about what we deserve, what it should look like, and obviously her work ethic. And yeah, just really grateful that she took a leap of faith essentially and trusted me and trusted Reagan and what we're building here. So.
Thanks, Dearica and Kelsey.
Oh, that's it?
You waited all that time for
That's
that?
You we can keep you.
Yeah,
Come
yeah.
on, yeah.
Yeah.
It's fan appreciation night. Let's do it.
So KP, I know that you put immense pressure on yourself, just as a competitor. You spoke about utilizing the offseason to grow as a leader. How do you plan on utilizing this offseason to give yourself grace?
Yeah, I mean, I think, taking time to step back and get a different perspective, reflect, see my family, travel, walk my dog. I think just being able to step back and, okay, what went, kind of earlier the question, what went right, and then what could be better. And, it's tough, it's this fine line, because one of the reasons that I've been successful is because I am hard on myself, right? And I try to take with a grain of salt, evaluate myself and what I can do better, but at the same time, I felt like especially post All-Star, I tried to do everything I could, leadership-wise, and then on the play side as well. So, I'll try to evaluate, and all I know though is that for me and Dee, we've talked about it, like, just the vision is there, and I'm not playing games. Like, I'm here to win, and I'm gonna do everything I can. And so that grace, I think, is a little bit. I'm gonna try to find it. I promise.
We're gonna move to the next play.
Kicking you off.
They kicking us out?
There will be more opportunities later.
What? What's May?
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you.
Hey.
Appreciate you, Dearica. This is actually for you. KP has said she struggles to give herself grace. Obviously, your relationship is pretty tight. When you see she's not giving herself grace, how do you kind of step in and kind of calm that storm a little bit?
At first, I just let her kind of rock out and just absorb it a little bit. But I think just to continue to remind her bigger picture and just perspective, and to just like breathe and not even try to think about basketball in some moments. So I'm gonna constantly be in her ear when she calls and vents and says things, and I'm just gonna keep being me and just loving on her and telling her to relax.
Yeah. Does it work?
Initially.
I've gotten better.
Yeah, she's gotten better. I will say, I see her trying, and it's translating, and she probably doesn't know I can realize this about her, but I see her like putting in the effort to self-correct, and to if something is said to her, she takes it, and then she puts it forth in action. So.
Thanks again. Really appreciate it.
He cut me. It's cool.
Ask it. We'll answer one out.
It's a good final one.
All right, go.
She's like, give me the mic.
I just asked. So KP, we heard you talk about this leap of faith outside of basketball, because basketball models, the world, right? Outside of basketball, can you just give a message to people who might be thinking about taking a leap of faith? Mm-hmm. Because, this was a big risk for you. We saw you play really good in Vegas. You came here. Wasn't the outcome that you wanted, but there are a lot of positive things that happened. So can you just speak to the audience of the people, the fans who are watching, who might be looking to take a leap of faith in some way in their life?
I appreciate that question. I love that question. We get one life. Come on, Josh, you're gonna cut this off. We get one life, and I believe in God. I believe God puts desires in our hearts to do things, and we gotta jump, and we have. It's so funny. It's like, you think about it. Why would you not bet on yourself?
Yeah.
What do you have to lose? And along the way, like the character you develop, the relationships you form, the experiences that you have, like that's living. I want to live, and if you want to be great or do something great in this life, you kind of have to be crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm cool with it. So and I appreciate that question. So anyone that's, watching whatever it is, whether that's your career, your personal life, relationship, I never think I regret jumping and really betting on who I am and with doing it with the people that you love, because at the end of the day, that's what life's about, right?
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great pleasure.
Thank you.